Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We're very fortunate to have with us on today's program Dr. Aniva Zaman. She prefers to call her Anita Zaman, but she has a PhD in education. She's a producer at Channel 10 News here in South Florida. So welcome to the show, Aniva. Why am I saying Anita? Aniva Zaman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really a pleasure to have you. And to our viewers out there, we're going to talk to Aniva about her progress, her success, her achievement, because as you know, there are not many people in the American media. So when we find one, we gotta let the world know who is Aniva Zaman, how she got there, her background, her career, etc. So stay tuned as we talk to Aniva Zaman.
For all of your forwarding and freight shipping needs, we at Trin Forwarding International are committed to product delivery. At Trin Forwarding, we have the much needed experience, professionalism, and due diligence in freight forwarding, shipping, and cargoes. We deliver with timeliness and precision. You can reach out to us at our Caribbean office in Trinidad and Tobago, telephone number 868-624-6250, or our Florida, USA office at 305-887-9725.
So Aniva, tell us a little bit about your background before we get into your present career and profession, etc. Like, were you born in the United States? Did you your parents, where they're from? How you ended up getting into this career? We would like our viewers to know that so they can be motivated to get involved in this sort of media communications that you are into.
Sure. Yes, I'm actually fortunate to say that I am first generation American. My parents came here. My dad actually came here to America for a new beginning. Like many immigrant families, my parents are from Bangladesh. He came here back in '83. My mom came right afterwards, and I was born in Illinois, Chicago.
Okay.
And I moved down to South Florida years ago. I mean, some may just say that I am from South Florida, but I have my heart set at Chicago all the time, so that's still home for me. But as far as how I got started in the career, I've a lot of Bengali families or South Asian families, there's a huge taboo and stigma about how, parents want their kids to be doctor engineers. It's a big joke usually amongst our generation that everybody needs to be a doctor or engineer. I was fortunate to say that my parents never foresaw that for me and my future. Um, Luckily, I did choose the career that my dad always wanted me to do for them. But but my dad was a very news junkie. He always loved watching news, learning about political stuff. Just stuff around the world. Doesn't have to be politics, just everything about across the border. But I started falling in love with it. I liked meeting new people. I liked covering, asking questions. I a lot of people just, I can have a conversation and just constantly just roll out questions after questions and question. And some people think, okay, why are you interrogating me? I'm like, I'm not interrogating. I just want to learn more. And, here I am today, 33 years later, becoming the journalist, not only that my parents wanted me to be, but I also fell in love with that path in life. So,
Okay, so that motivated you. So you started studying in Chicago, you said, right?
so I grew up in South Florida. So I actually went to school here, went to my entire college life. I went to Berry for broadcast journalism. Then I went did my master's at Full Sail, and then I went off to doing my PhD online at North Central University. But I stayed here pretty much.
Okay, okay, okay. Beautiful. So that's your dad is more or less got to get the credit for motivating you to want to get into the media,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, I will definitely give my mom too. My dad
Yes.
was the more spoken one. My mom was more of the one that actually, pulled everything together and helped me get there in
So
life.
tell us a little bit. I was going through your bio and I see that you have some experience with WSVN, which is Channel 7, right?
Yes.
So you have worked with Channel 7 and now you are with Channel 10. So tell
Mhm.
us a little bit how you got involved with Channel 7 and now Channel 10, etc.
So just taking a step back, I mean, I actually interned at CBS as well. So the only one that I haven't stepped foot in is NBC Channel 6 yet in this South Florida industry. But Channel 7 was actually after graduating from college. It was what I learned the hard way was that journalism and the news media world is a very competitive field, very competitive. Um, I had I didn't get the experience while I was in college. I did my internship, but I didn't get it. So a good year after I graduated, I was without a job. I mean, not without a job completely. I was working, paying bills, but I wasn't, um, unfortunately, getting my foot in the door when it came to journalism. I did get a little bit of help where I was applying, and it turns out that there's so many people applying for the same position, and there's so many limited positions that it's hard to get there without somebody giving you the permission to just talk to somebody. So you have so many resumes and you're just another person applying for the job, but you need someone to be like, hey, can you just talk to this person? And I was completely broken for a good year. I'm like, I graduated out of school, I'm paying loans, student loans, and I still don't have a job. This is impossible. How is this working? Did I just make a big mistake in life? But Allah has his way to work things, and my advisor from college helped me. It's like, hey, look, I'll set you up for an interview. I'm like, that's all I need, just an interview, and I'll take it from there, and then I got the job from there. I did the interview. I still remember one of the questions were, well, do you have experience? And after interviewing at, trying to apply at so many different places, I kept on saying that, well, out of frustration, I said that I don't know how anybody wants us to get any experience when nobody's giving us the chance to gain the experience. All I'm asking is, I'm like, give me 6 months, give me the probation period to prove to you that I have what it takes. And then if you don't like my work, fire me. But give me the chance to prove myself that I have what it takes. And that apparently worked out. And that frustration turned into, a start of a new career for me.
I think that was very brave and very, very dynamic from your side to be able to take that step and to get into the media, especially in the last 5, 10 years. Media has been a very, very, what would I say, a very controversial area, especially with Muslims and Islam and the 9/11. But for
Yes.
you to get into the media, you have broken a big chunk of ice there, and I think credit goes to you for that. So tell us a little bit about your now your involvement with Channel 10 News here. What do you do? I saw you do some health program, South Florida health program. What exactly you do with that for viewers? Because viewers from all over the world look at this program online and on Alhikmat Network, etc. So they will all be very curious to know about, what role you play at Channel 10 News here in South Florida.
So I am one of the producers. So there's different kinds of producers. I work for creative services. Our stuff is more long term and not very hard breaking news on a day-to-day basis. Ours more, whether it's promoting the station, we do promos. Whether it's doing special project segments, whether it's sometimes helping out with investigative stuff, or even just the only time we go into the hard news world is when unfortunately there's, let's just say, there's a hurricane, and at that point everybody's hands on deck. We're out on the field, working 24-hour shifts, 12 on until in sleeping bags at the station on the streets and whatnot. But producing different things. So when it comes to the health show, I produce the different segments, and from time to time I actually am on air doing the correspondence for the segment. So what I've learned over the years is that I fell in love with just asking questions, doing the interviews. This is unusual for me, being interviewed. I'm usually on the other side asking the questions and trying to just understand, having that one-on-one conversation. So there's so many things, the social health is, there's a lot of medical stuff going on, but there's a lot of lifestyle things that can help motivate people in their wellness. And it's, whether it's alternative medicine, whether it's, just food you eat on a day-to-day basis, just laughing, things like that, that people don't realize that, can work to your advantage when it comes to your wellness. So my niche when it comes to the health shows are finding alternative ways of being healthy, having a new lifestyle, things like that. One of the things, inshallah, that I plan on doing is actually doing something for Ramadan next year, highlighting the fact, on the healthy eating and the health benefits of even fasting altogether. There's different, ways to promote wellness, breaking all the stigmas. When we always get questions, growing up in America, is like, not even water. And it's again, it's another joke for us that, not even water. But they're like, well, how are you okay? Are you still healthy and stuff? So those are questions that I want to approach and explain to our audience and everyone that, there's benefits of it, the real reason behind it, things like that. So that's one of the goals, inshallah, for next year, that I plan on promoting that through a story, through a segment, just to get people educated, more than a promotion, but to educate people in the fact that, there's more to Ramadan and things like that. But so like little things like that, I try to target and bring to the audience and inform them and educate them.
Well, that is phenomenal. It is interesting to have you on this program because, as you rightly said, you are always on the other side asking questions. So sometimes it gets a little interesting when someone is asking you questions. And that's why we're so happy to have you with us on this program, because you're an expert at this. Well, we're going to go on a short break at this point in time. When we come back, we want to talk a little bit about some of these wellness programs and some of these issues that you have discussed with people that our viewers can benefit from it. All right? So to our viewers out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with Dr. Aniva Zaman, who is a producer at Channel 10 News here in South Florida. Until then, stay tuned, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very, 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 very honored to have with us on today's show Dr. Aniva Zaman. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Aniva.
Thank you.
Right. It's really interesting, and I probably should ask you that. You know, you got a doctorate in education. And you are in media and communication. Why that switch?
So, to be honest, I went into education because I still stuck to the core of journalism. My dissertation was on journalism, but I went for a more broader perspective when it came to my dissertation. My doctorate degree, because I wanted to educate people. So, though it's on education, my focus was on journalism. And basically, I did my research on international media studies. The research was basically on finding a systematic way of projecting news, or a more, reaching a wide audience across the border. So now that we're in the world of technology, we can have local news, but local news can be watched across the water, across the ocean, on the other side of the world. And that was my focus, that, now a lot of the things that we were taught in school were to focus on your target audience, which is, whether if you're in local news, you will focus on your local audience, the type of people that are the culture you're targeting, the audience. But being that our videos or our stories can be seen on the other side of the world, we now have to find a way to tell our stories in a way where it doesn't offend anyone, in an unbiased manner. Being respectful to different cultures, or talking about different things. When news came about, when I started working at local news, we were focusing on just local stories, just South Florida, not even going past the Palm Beach county line. But over the years, things have changed. We started doing stories in Texas after the Uvalde shooting. Things like that. Across on the other side, we covered the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee, 70th Jubilee, things like that, because now we're reaching a wider, diverse audience. So our ways of storytelling has to change, which a lot of stuff that we weren't taught in school because of that. So I want to touch base on that now we're not only reaching, even though we are local news, we're not only reaching our local audience, we're reaching people across the world. So what do we have to do to change our ways of storytelling, or to reach that diverse audience? So that was my focus. So I still stick to the journalism aspect of the research.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that you ended up using journalism to get that education out there, and the media is the best way to educate people, because everything now is about media. Universities, schools, colleges, especially with the pandemic in the last couple of years. Everyone started using communications and the media system, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Skype,
Right.
whatever it may be. It's the form of technology and media to
Yeah.
be able to reach the people out there. So you are in the heart of it. You're in the heart of it in television network. So I think that is wonderful. That is really, really superb that you're able to get this message all over the world. And as you rightly said, nowadays with the clips and the video clips, people all over the world, they may not be able to tune in to Channel 10 News here locally, but the clips online they can see. So you are getting your message out there. That is really
Right.
fantastic. Really. So tell us some of the topics and some of the issues that you discuss on your health program.
So we have a few producers and we have different correspondents as well. So I prefer to stick to things more of the alternative side, just so that though some of the stuff aren't ever covered or people are not knowledgeable of, that I want to bring to the limelight, or things like iridology. People diagnosing or suggesting illnesses, like you can go and just based off just looking at your ear or your eyes, or your just touching your head, they can figure out what might be wrong with you, and they can guide you to the right people. So things like that. Like I recently did a segment on hypnosis. And basically, the whole idea of hypnosis is not what we see on TV. No one's hearing, snapping a finger and you're quacking like a duck or things like that. So breaking that idea, or educating people of what hypnosis is and how it's performed or what it is, was a completely different. And I'm not only educating people, I'm educating myself while I'm doing these stuff, like understanding these subjects that I've never even thought it could go that way, things I've never heard of. And there's a lot of things that are out there that can support wellness, that we don't even think twice about. Like I said, like the hypnosis one, it hasn't aired yet, but it will be airing. But what we understand about hypnosis is something completely different, just because of movies and TVs and shows like that, or things that have been taught to us over the years. But it really comes from within yourself. You can be in a hypnotic state every day, but if you can't, support yourself, nobody can support you. You have to want to do it within yourself. So things like that. There's other stuff that I've done where there's color therapy, that different colors in life, different things can actually support wellness. Whether it's different colors support different things. Like if I remember correctly, green will support oxygen, things like that. So all the green we have out there, whether it's the trees or the grass, it supports your oxygen capabilities and breathing and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different types of. So I'm all over the different spectrums and different topics, but I try to stick within more of the alternative stuff, whether it's different types of sports, fun things, and that's what the just track going back, the health show was something that initially we've started because we wanted to do a lifestyle type of thing. You live in South Florida, there's a lot of things that there's different businesses that's out there that we people can do and just have fun with and things like that. But then it turned into something more narrow when it came to health. So what we did was that we came up with the idea, okay, so now how can we turn our lifestyle, our daily lifestyle, into something that supports or promotes wellness. And here we are, almost 4 years later, doing a soulful health show, different things that actually support people's healthy lifestyle. There were, over the pandemic, we've done a lot of stories on healthy lifestyles, people that were becoming, depressed just being in the house. So things that people can do to help them, break away from that stress, depression, things like that. So we give people ideas, actually, of functioning on a day-to-day lifestyle.
So, do you have any recommendations and suggestion to our viewers on some tips about getting over this depression, or whether it be pandemic depression, whether it be budget depression? As you know, a lot of countries in the world right now, America, wherever it may be, with the rise in prices and, of course, health issues worldwide, etc. What are some of the tips that you discussed on your show that can be beneficial to some of our viewers?
So, I'm not the expert. I've done interviews with experts who suggested that, when it comes to health, wellness, and overcoming, just depression or stress, and just aside from pandemic, just stress in life, there's so many ways of doing it. Whether there's laughing, if you just find ways to just laugh, it can help you just alleviate that stress level. There's what can I say? There's just writing stuff down, journaling can help people alleviate some of that. Talking to someone maybe 10 minutes a day, would help alleviate some of the issues. Just having a discussion. I mean, sometimes we're so, carried away with just daily life, chores, meeting everyone's expectations, that we forget that, it's the little things that just, that can take care of you. One of the biggest thing that I have learned over the 4 years, that everything comes down to one core thing, is just breathing. We don't seem to realize that a lot of, at least I can speak on for myself, that I think I'm breathing properly. I'm not really breathing properly. But if you just take deep breaths, and the science behind that is just remarkable, that it would lower your serotonin levels, and there's terminologies that I sometimes have difficult remembering or grasping, but just generally speaking, as just dummyfying it for everyone and myself, it's that one little aspect thing, that just breathing can make the difference in the world. So say we're in pain, you go to the doctor's office and you're in so much pain, or hospital, they said just take a deep breath. We might just sometimes just overlook it, like, okay, yeah, I'm breathing, I'm still in pain. No, it helps calm you down. And sometimes it helps with just calming down. It's like a domino effect, just calming down and then triggers down to your pain levels going down. Yes, it doesn't cure it, but it helps you manage it a little better. And sometimes when you're stressing out about stuff, your pain levels automatically just goes up. Your blood pressure goes up, your sugar levels go up. So things like that I've learned over the years, that, a lot of the different segments I've done, they all somehow in some shape or form have said, breathe, just take a deep breath. And that would help a lot of stuff. So things like that, that's one of the biggest things I've learned over the years with these segments.
That is interesting. That is really, really interesting. Speaking about that, maybe you want to share with us. I love that what you said a little while ago about what you have learned. How have you, or how do you feel doing these shows on health? Have you seen yourself benefiting from it? And why I say that, because definitely, like myself talking to you on this show, talking to other people from different parts of the world on different topics and different issues, it really opens up your mind. It gives that vast level of knowledge and education on various topics and various issues, that it's amazing. It's amazing. And as you rightly said, as simple as breathing, people would overlook that. But that is such a wonderful thing, such a natural thing that Allah, God Almighty, has put for us, that to breathe, it helps the body, the mind, the brain, the oxygen. So many benefits that just puts you into that relaxation mode. And you mentioned another very interesting point about talking to people, throwing your mind away from what stressed you out. You got to just talk to people on different levels, different subjects, different areas, and it just relax your mind and take you away from that that stress or that problem that caused depression and stress. So, you know what? When we come back, we got to go again on a short break, all right? When we come back, I would really love for you to share with our viewers some of the things that you have benefited from by running your talk show on health and wellness, because I mean you're a producer, you do this, and this will definitely motivate our viewers, because hear what, a lot of people think that a lot of time these shows are just done to occupy time, to make up time, to buy time, but little do they know it is very educational. I have really learned, I have learned so much by talking to people of different fields and different walk of life, that it's amazing. It's amazing. So when we come back, we'd love you to share some of your experience or some of the mind-blowing things you learned or you benefited from in your conversations and discussions on health and wellness, etc. All right? So to our viewers there, we've been talking to Dr. Aniva Zaman, who is a health and producer at Channel 10 News here in South Florida. So stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with her, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Who is Who in America on Alhikmat TV 24/7. For those of you who have just tuned in, we have been talking to Dr. Aniva Zaman, who is a producer with Channel 10 News here in South Florida. So stay tuned as we continue this conversation with Dr. Aniva. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Aniva.
Thank you.
So that was nice and very educational for you to share that perspective of, having a PhD in education, but you are in television and media communication, which, I share that with a lot of people who ask me about my outreach programs. And I'm like, because I also studied journalism when I was studying, it helps me so much to spread the message of the Quran and to be able to get into different topics and different areas in sharing a message. You can have the same message and use a different forum at different places, different people, and get the same message out in a different format. Very interesting. So we were at this point where I wanted to ask you, because personally myself, it's interesting to know that I have always loved media. I've always loved. I studied that more than 40 into 60. Yeah, more than 45 years ago. I studied 40 to 45 years ago. I studied journalism. And I loved it, and I used journalism with the Alhikmat Magazine, Alhikmat TV. We had Alhikmat TV shows, Alhikmat radio programs, the whole 9 yards to spread the message of Islam. I loved it, and I learned a lot. Huh?
Huge fan of yours. I've been a huge fan over the years as well because I have followed Alhikmat for a very, very long time since I can remember.
Oh my goodness, that is so nice. That I mean, it's a blessing, and I appreciate that. So
So
I
it's an
learned.
honor
Huh?
to be here. So it's an honor to be here today
Thank
as
you
a
very much.
follower and a very big fan.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But as I was saying, I love this because I learned so much. I mean,
Yeah.
simple as you being a person running a show on Channel 10 News and having that love for media and communications, it really opens up your mind, your vision. You do not be a one track minded person because you hear so many different opinions, you get different views. Even if you look at a political situation, you see the Republican opinion on it, you see the Democrat opinion on it. It opens your mind, and you're able to be a more moderate, liberal thinking person as a one track minded person. So tell us a little bit, tell our viewers a little bit, maybe some of those things that you would have benefited from in your talk shows that you have heard and they just blow your mind and you thought it was so nice. And that satisfaction you got from not only viewers benefiting from the discussion, but you yourself. You
Yeah.
yourself benefited. Share some
Yeah.
of those experiences with our viewers.
So there's a lot of stuff that I've learned and was exposed to over the years that I've never thought twice about. I know we've even had the side talk about during the break that there's chiropractors for not only us human beings but also for animals. So things like that you're mind blown that okay, there's different ways of doing stuff. Again, like bringing stuff to like alternative medicine. There's whether you have a faith or not, people, if speaking about faith in a very generic term, we sometimes tend to not go, believe in different ways of not going things by the book, but finding different ways of treating yourself. Some things that come within from yourself that you are sometimes your own medicine. And, just growing up and I'm not 100% not to take things out of context where it's, I 100% believe in doctors and medications and stuff like that. They obviously help with a lot of ailments that people have, but a lot of the stuff, even going to, so I have my mom, my parents are ill. My mom has been fighting rheumatoid arthritis for years now, and she's currently disabled because of that. And going to so many doctors, going to so many things, different people within the health field and walk of life, I've learned that again, it comes down to the core of you. Sometimes you need to believe that I can be better. I can, help myself. And believe it or not, I've tried to take these suggestions I've learned from going to doctor's offices with my mom or myself, or just these interviews that I've done with people. And again, it comes down to the core that one thing that everybody has said that I've realized was you need to believe in yourself that I can be better. I want to be better. I will do whatever it takes to feel better. And that would benefit you and your wellness and getting better in that journey 25%. You take 25% ahead of yourself and then you're there, like 25% up that road to getting to the end point, because you now will do whatever it takes to help you. So that's like, to me, from what I understood over the years, was that that's your first step, your first baby step, doing that. And then all the other things come into place: working out, eating healthy, taking the right medication, seeing the right types of doctor, getting treated for getting the right treatment, things like that. If you want to go into the scientific aspect of it, there's, I've done a story with a doctor that does stem cell therapy, and your body regenerates. You use your cells to regenerate your damaged cells. So again, just thinking in whether it's a holistic way or a scientific way, what I see is that they all connect because it's you healing yourself. So I've learned that. I've used it on myself. Yes, I am a human being. I will not. I am guilty for sometimes not following it through 100%. I don't eat healthy as I should be. I try, but finding that focus and finding that I'm still on that journey even myself today to find ways of focusing on myself. I get carried away with taking care of two sick parents. I am the only child, living in America. We're everything. We do everything, whether it's working, cleaning, cooking, and by the grace of Allah, I have my parents to support me, but there's a lot. So sometimes we tend to forget about focusing on ourselves, and we focus on everybody and just life altogether. But I'm still learning every day. I'm still finding different ways of doing stuff. But there's things that you don't have to spend thousands and hundreds of dollars that you can use just at home that can help you reach that wellness journey, or help with that wellness journey that you're in.
Well, that is really interesting, because you mentioned that point about your mind, and it's definite. A lot of times people suffer with illness, and yes, the illness is there, but basically they can reduce that 25% by that mind over matter situation. Mind over matter situation. That is so very important. And I don't think many people really look at this mind over matter situation. They allow, well, actually, they go to the doctor. The doctor says, well, you're sick. Well, they come home feeling more sick.
Sure.
And then,
I've been blessed to say that excuse me, I didn't mean to be rude and cut you off, but I've even doctors that I've been to, fortunately, that every doctor that I came across, they've also stated the same thing about mind over matter. Like, look, we can do whatever we can, but don't let this bring you down. There's ways of working around it. There's different things. We're not giving a deadline that they're going to be dead in 24 hours and just spitting out numbers, but you know what I mean? It's even most doctors, I'm not going to say they all just tell you, okay, you're just only spreading bad news. And then that's a lot of misunderstanding that we have, whether, with doctors that, okay, no, they're not there just to tell you this is what it is. They do help kind of psychologically help you too. They're, finding ways of helping yourself. Sure, not everybody's the same. Not everybody's personable or are willing to help you. But even I have doctors that actually have told my mom or myself that, look, there's ways, but help yourself, eat better, feel better, do things that will help you. Over the pandemic, my mom, our doctor said that, 2 years you're being cooped up in the house. It's not easy for you to just go out, because you go out, it's like, growing up, we're like, okay, kids need to be thrown in the dirt so that, you build up that immunity. It's hard to build up an immunity when you have an immunocompromised illness, or, you step out the door and you get sick immediately, but there's, the doctor's like, okay, there's ways to work around it. You don't have to be around people during COVID times, but go to the backyard, plant trees. My mom loves gardening. So she tries to do it when she feels better. Okay, do that. Yes, every day is different for her. 1 minute she's okay, 1 minute she's not. But the little bit that she has, not only that have I educated myself by experts telling me, by the interviews, by the doctors, but I've also taught my mom, or we both learned together, should I say, that to take your mind off things, finding ways to take your mind off all the issues that we have, whether it's physical issues or lifestyle issues, but finding things that would help that, whether it's gardening, whether it's reading a book, whether it's cooking, things like that, talking to your friends, playing a game, it's just little things.
Yeah, listen, you're so right that some doctors, you go to them, you're 100% sick, but they are so motivating when they talk to you and they give you the explanation. They make it look as though it's not a problem. You come back feeling only 25% sick, which is again a mind over matter situation. It's the reality, but a lot of times we allow the mind over the matter to make a mountain out of a mole, and that really deteriorates the situation. So I'm sure that you have benefited so much by these conversations. Like I have benefited because we talk to people on a political line, on health issues, on religious issues, interfaith issues. We try to talk to all different kind of people on our show here on Alhikmat TV. So I do it with the purpose of learning, number one, myself, and for others to be able to benefit from the education that is shared on these talk shows. So I can just imagine how very happy you feel after you talk to someone and you learn from the discussion and you learn from what they have to say and what they have to share. Sometimes you have issues going through in your own life, and when you talk to some experts, you resolve those issues automatically. Recently someone was asking me, so don't you have problems? I said, I got a lot of problems. I'm a human being like everybody else. I said, but when I listen to people's problem, it relieves my problem. It relieves me because I am thinking that I got 100% stress on an issue, and I'm seeing someone who got 10 times more problems than what I have on that issue. So I'm like, wow, that is amazing. So talking to people, counseling people, listening to people's problems, it relieves me, it relaxes me. Not that I'm happy with their problem, but in the eyes of God, it makes me realize I have no problem at all.
Yeah,
The kind
I
of
guess
problem they have, the kind of frustration they're going through, I'm like, they got it 10 times more than me, you know? So I can just imagine when you talk to people on your shows, these medical doctors and experts, it really, really brings a lot of satisfaction from an educational point of view. And it makes you a happier person and more educated person. It really does. It
absolutely.
really
Learning
does.
new things is endless. You're never done learning new things, and that's what I've learned in my field of work. That educating and being educated is endless. And the fact that I am able to meet so many different types of people and so many different paths in life and walks in life, careers, you name it. I've
Uh,
seen different perspectives. I've learned different perspectives. I've learned how to deal with them.
And education is really, really, education is really a light. It is a light. It is a light that really makes you relax and lightens that burden of frustration and stress and ignorance, etc. So, Dr. Aniva Zaman, we got about 2-3 minutes left. What would you
Sure.
like to share with our audience? Again, remember, as you said, and you know best, we got a very international audience
Yeah,
worldwide. What would
yeah.
you like to share with our viewers? We got a interfaith audience, non-Muslim audience, Muslim audience, a very wide variety. What would you like to share with our audience in the next 2-3 minutes as we conclude the show?
So, the one thing that, again, like I've learned, and whether it's through life, through career, through my journey in life, meeting people, I've learned to approach stuff, and I humbly request everyone to have a conversation with people with an open mind, whether it's a different faith, different belief, different ideology, education, status, you name it. Just um, having that open mind to understand where someone else is coming from, um, will benefit people in so many ways that it's not even imaginable. I had people over the years, unfortunately attack me, whether it's being in the field where I worked in, whether it's my religion, whether it's my gender, my age. I've seen, I've been through those struggles many times, but I've found ways to reach these people. Back in the days, I used to get mad, argue and stuff like that. But now I've learned to sit there and just be like, okay, why do you think the way you think? Tell me. Maybe I can help you, understand where I'm coming from, educate you. So I've learned ways to approach people instead of just being, no, how could you say this? Or why do you believe this? Or why are you doing this? I sit there and I listen to them. Maybe they might have reason for it, whether it's for their anger, whether it's for the idea, whether it's the belief or the thing they do. But being there with an open mind just to listen makes a difference in so many ways that is unimaginable. So I've learned that over my 33 years in life, my career journey, meeting people. And I think it doesn't only help in just life, but it also helps with wellness again.
You're so right. That is very interesting, and it really makes life happier. It really makes life happier, and you feel that sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Again, before we conclude the show, there's something I want to ask you, because you mentioned while you were talking. So how long now have you known Alhikmat, known us? You mentioned that you have been following Alhikmat a long time now. So could you share that with our viewers? I mean, that's a big testimony coming from you now.
Yes, absolutely. So when we were first started talking, I mentioned that I was fortunate to have you actually do a interview with me in school for a school project back in. So this was 2009 and 2019. Yeah, 2009. I graduated in 2010. So I would say between 2009 and 10 is when I had you come on our school show.
Wow. So since then you were doing interviews at the university, and you were still a student there, and you had interviewed me. I mean, that brings back some interesting memories.
Yeah, but even before that, we used to go to Darul Uloom a lot, and then we've listened to your khutbahs to be educated, and then we've known about Alhikmat, and I very much appreciate the education that you've been, reaching out to different people and different faiths and stuff like that, and just having that open mind and understanding different faiths and beliefs and educating people in different ways. There's unimaginable ways again, and that's why I've been a huge fan of Alhikmat and you.
Thank you.
Over the years, I've grown up listening to your stuff, and I've used your lectures, your education for my daily lifestyle as well.
Thank you very much. Well, it's really nice hearing that. That motivated me. It gives me a little more courage to get up and go and do more shows like that. I really feel very honored to have you with us on this show after so many years, and your achievement, your success, I think that is phenomenal, and you're doing a wonderful job, and that's why we thought that we need to have someone like you on our show. So thank you very much again, and may Allah bless you and give you more success in your career, your profession, and your entire accomplishment in life, inshallah.
Thank you so much for having me and this opportunity.
Thank you. So to our viewers, dear, again, it was a pleasure and an honor to have with us on today's program Dr. Aniva Zaman, and she is a producer at Channel 10 News here in South Florida. She has a PhD in education, so a very smart, well-educated person using the media and communications to learn and to share what she learned with other people. So always stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
9/11, there has been a great fear of Islam.
We need Muslims, I always say, to speak up in this country.
Much of our Islamic community is perceived to be insular.
Most Americans have never met a Muslim or are not aware of having met a Muslim.
Most people don't have enough education in terms of what the entirety of Islam represents.
It's very easy to hate someone or to put stereotypes on people that you've never interacted with.
But do you think if Muslims were more integrated in society, in America, in the United States of America, then there would have been less anti-Muslim scenario?
I think it's even more important that our clergy speak up. They are, after all, the moral force in our community.
You see, the Islam that is celebrated is one which opens its doors.
Having this type of dialogue in terms of a community outreach or
Something that Muslims have to do is go out just like you do and inviting non-Muslims to the iftar, that and you do a lot of speaking to mixed groups.
We have to change the language from us versus them to a language of we.
I believe that if we can stand together against the forces of hatred and be unified in this country, then we can do wonderful things.
Bringing us together to enhance the beauty of humankind.
I think religion can be such a powerful force for unity.
Of course.
We've made it into this powerful force for disunity.
Keep trying to understand each other and care for each other and keep building a world community, because I believe that's what God wants for us all.
And I'm in their mosques and they're in my temple, and it's been a phenomenal experience. I've had a very warm and welcoming experience from all the brothers and sisters in the community.
That every human being is either your brother in faith or brother in humanity.
In Arabic, the word is lita'arafu, so that you will learn to understand one another.
And this is the truth of what it should be. You see, this is why I am so pleased to come here today, to support the work of Alhikmat.
The kind of intolerance and the violence that we see across the globe is rooted in ignorance, which we can overcome by teaching.
Yes.
Also rooted in fear, which we can overcome by experiencing, where we can actually live in each other's presence. It's rooted in this myopic kind of my way only, rather than this understanding that maybe all of us have more in common, and at the core of who we are is this truly global family that we belong to.
I'd like to say what a joy and pleasure it is to have Shaikh Shafayat as my friend, as my teacher, as my co-worker in the vineyard of Allah, God, where we work together to make this world a better place, to do God's work, to do the work which we are commanded to do as human beings.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, says, those people whose shughul, whose occupation is in learning Quran, teaching Quran, spreading the message of the Quran, without asking Allah for anything, Allah grants it to them. Please, as we live in this world, we can check how many businesses we have and how many accounts we have and how many properties we have. Let it be that the angels count how many Quran you distribute in the path of Allah. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com.